Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being in this incredible tribe as a high performance leader. And as always, every week we are doing awesome interviews. And today I have an incredible and amazing, super incredible. You don't have no idea. This woman has changed my life to the way that you don't have no idea. So before I introduce her, I just want to introduce myself right now for those who are watching in LinkedIn, who the ones who are watching actually in YouTube. Basically, I am the CEO, founder of the KW Coaching Group. Basically, I have been in business. Oh my God, I don't know how many years, but the only thing that I know is that I quit amazing and incredible leaders who they want to improve team performance and productivity. So that's basically what my corporation and my organization is supporting in these interviews is actually to support the young generation, the new generation who are having this idea of becoming an entrepreneur who doesn't have no idea what leadership is. So that's why we bring in these incredible and amazing and super incredible speakers that they have been in business and as a CEO and as a leader for many, many years. So right now, I wanted to welcome Dr. Jessica Vera. She is actually one of the most incredible human beings that I never been before. And actually something that she did to me is that she helped me become a writer. And that was one of major fears. And I don't know if you have been in these strategic partners in Tampa Bay, where I shared the story and she is here with us today. So let's welcome Jessica Vera. Jessica, you can unmute yourself. Awesome, awesome. So Jessica is actually, she has been in business for so many years. She owns two corporations, well, two nonprofits. One is a Life Foundation where we actually create one of the latest books that I become a co-author. And also she also has a nonprofit flagship. And right now she's gonna probably tell us a little bit more about what exactly the corporations are and what is her strategies, how she get involved with the community, because she is not only a leader, she is a multi-bestseller, an award winner for so many times, an entrepreneur from by heart, philanthropist, visionary. Oh my God, Jessica, I gotta stop right now. So now you can, let's welcome Jessica.
Thank you, Candy. Thank you so much for having me. And this is such a pleasure. And the intersection in life that we had was twofold. You think that you changed my life, but you really changed my life as well, because it was such a pleasure to work with you, honestly. Yeah. So thank you for having me. And let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's tell the people who are watching live right now. Where do you started? Where you are right now? What projects are you working on for the future? And how you become this idea to become an entrepreneur? Because not everybody got those ideas.
No. Well, let me put it this way. I was born an entrepreneur. And the reason I say that is because I do a lot of different things. And people typically ask me, how do you juggle so many things? It started when I was very, very young. I'm going to tell you a really cute story. I'm one of five, and I'm the only girl. And so when my brothers would have their men's club, I would not be permitted to participate because I was the only girl. So I really quickly learned, right, some of the rules of engagement, like, the fine arts of war. How do you get to know your enemy so that you can infiltrate their camp and be able to be one of the boys and be allowed to play in the boys' camp? And so it started very young, that strategic thinking of how to manipulate the environment and the conditions of the market so that they would accept me. So of course, what did I do? I started making things that they couldn't make.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden, I was very valuable to them and they wanted me to be part of their club because, I figured out how to climb trees without getting scratched and all kinds of really fun stuff that they were trying to do.
Oh.
There, Candy, it started there. And then, as a little girl, I had a lot of opportunities, but I also had a lot of hardships. And in those hardships is where I really became very entrepreneurial because the survivor strategies kicked in. My mom became a single parent. There was 5 of us, and I started working very young. And I quickly learned that, 14, 15, working in the restaurants and this kind of thing, I realized, you know what, this is not going to get me very far, paycheck to paycheck, and I need to help mom. So I started to really learn everything that I could learn about different things. And then I opened my very first for-profit corporation when I was 19 years old.
19.
Yeah, 19. And in 5 years, I created 5 companies across Canada with over, 300 employees. And I became a multi-millionaire before I was 21 years old. I mean, it was really a crazy, crazy roller coaster ride. And when we talk about entrepreneurialism, it really is about having vision, right? Seeing the opportunities that are in front of you and having the flexibility of mindset to know that there's something that you can learn, and then there's something that you can create in order to fit a need and solve a problem. And if you can get that equation down pat, you can do very well. But entrepreneurialism doesn't have a 9 to 5, doesn't have a fixed schedule, so you work a lot, and you have to be willing, you need to be hungry, right? You need to be hungry. I was hungry. I was hungry. It was do or die. Single mom, 5 kids. It was do or die, because otherwise I wasn't going to get the DoorDash jeans. I wasn't going to be able to, help mom pay the rent and that sort of thing. And then just worked really hard and worked very long hours. And I broke into a very interesting niche in disability management in the insurance industry. I learned to subrogate disability claims. And I always was a person who looked for the underdog. And there was a lot of minorities who didn't speak the language, and they were being taken advantage of because they didn't know. They were signing documents, not knowing what they were signing. So I just hired people from different ethnic backgrounds, and they helped their own communities basically understand their rights and their policies. And we made a killing and they made a killing. They got what they were entitled to, and we got our share from the insurance industry. And that went along for a good 5 years. And then I decided, I want to go back to school and I want to learn more. I think that's the journey of the entrepreneur. You have to have that mindset of a lifelong learner. Don't ever think you know it all, because if you think you know it all, that's when you get stifled, right?
Yes, that's a different mindset of becoming being an employee and actually becoming an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur has an open-minded 24/7, that you got to stop whatever you're doing and jump in and take care of business, take care of your clients. But as an employee, you just have the mindset of weekends and vacation, have fun, let's get off a fire and have a drink, happy hours. It's way different. We always thinking about how I can multiply my time so I can be more productive, I can serve more people. So that's always the question, right?
Yeah, that is. And I guess the other side of the coin is, as an entrepreneur, you become a workaholic, and you have to learn that life-work balance, because there isn't that structure of a paycheck and the time that you clock out and the weekend. That's the other side. That's the struggle, right? So that's the struggle to kind of keep things balanced. And so many times throughout my life, I kind of jumped away from really good businesses, sold them, pulled them apart, and then recreated them again in a different industry. So I've always done that. And, fast forward, you mentioned the flagship. It's actually, so I have 5 corporations now that are for profit and 1 that's nonprofit. And the nonprofit you're very familiar with, and that's the anti-human trafficking nonprofit, and that's the flagship. But the for-profit companies that I do now, they're predominantly in niche markets. So I love writing, I love helping people write. So I created a platform with a colleague, and we co-founded a company for technology innovation, and we've done a platform that's available for people who just want to write and they don't know how to get started and remember. So I decided, let's create the solution.
I went through that. I'm proud of the product.
And then I'm also doing another company that has to do specifically with, women's empowerment and just helping women entrepreneurs learn that balance, that switch tasking between all the hats that we wear, and how do you tap into potential in every area without exhausting yourself, because that can happen, right? You can burn out. So that's another love passion work that I'm doing. And
It's
just
beautiful.
yeah, and then just recently I got word on a company out of Japan that I'm going to partner with to do some other things. So I'm always that I believe, it's called the serial entrepreneur. You just have a few things going, right?
Yeah.
As long as you understand the clarity of the vision, because all of it, the undertone of all of what I do has to do with elevating others, serving others.
Beautiful. That's what you said, that you believe in you.
Yeah, very, very, very strongly believe that, because otherwise this world is going to go to hell in a handbasket, right? Because we lose so much talent, we lose so many people and so much potential because people get caught in the weeds, get caught in the negativity, get caught in their hardships. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's beautiful about the second company that you just mentioned about empowering women. I know that here in the high performance leaders, we have about 60 to 70% of women. And normally when I always talk to them, they're like, I'm in an emergency, I'm sick, and I don't have time. Most of I would say probably around 70% of the people always say that they need help with time management. That's why we're going to be talking the next week about, okay, this is something that we can do actually, the little small things. But I would love you to share those maybe 2 or 3 advice that you can give them about how they can incorporate and step out from that burnout, becoming a workaholic. Maybe and the other one is that they always use this word busy, which is a really negative word.
Yes,
It's a super negative word. So what do you
Yes.
say about that, Jessica?
All right. So, I mean, these are tough lessons, right? First and foremost, I'm often asked, can we do it all? And my answer is yes, but yes, we can do it all because women's brains are wired differently. We can switch tasks. So you can be a mom a minute, you're walking up the stairs, you get a phone call, you can pick up the laundry, you can do a few things at one time because we can kind of switch tasks. But what you're doing when you're switch tasking is you're decreasing your clarity and your attention to detail. So you can do multiple things at once, unlike men. Men cannot because their brains are not wired to do it. They focus on one area, hyper focus on one area, and they do it well, and then they turn to the next, right? So we have different brain stems. So what I always tell women in particular is that you need to learn your physiology, learn how you operate, right? So can we do it all? Yes, but it's called 80-20 rule, priorities, and clarity, right? Those are the 3 top lessons. If you can, we wear multiple hats as women, wife, mother, business owner, girlfriend, someone who attends church, so many different things, philanthropic work. And the key becomes prioritizing really what is going to be the greatest impact for me. It's the greatest impact for others, those that I'm serving, whether it's my family, whether it's my husband, whether it's my community. It's what's the priority now? And then really identifying what are the things that I can remove from that massive to-do list because they don't fall within those high-level priorities, but they have to get done, so to speak, right? So it's that 80-20 rule, that's very important. But the other is, and I love what you said, busyness is another form of work. Right? It's a bad word. And the reason is because we're in a generation of busyness. But busyness just means that you're unclear. Like if you translate it, it just means you're really unclear and you have not gained selection of choices. Like we are given so many choices every minute of every day, right? And if you get caught in that, as opposed to having some clarity of what your end goal is and what you're trying to achieve because of your priorities, then you can easily spend a lot of time in busyness and get nowhere.
Yes, exactly. When somebody told me, hey, Candy, I'm busy right now, it's like, oh, you need me.
Absolutely. Practical tools, I use to-do lists. I use journaling a lot. I use for time management, like anything and everything that we've built, there's always some time management component to it and accountability component, more than a time management and accountability, because it's that checks and balances between your priorities and being accountable and having integrity. So if you set the priority, you give it a standard, you have the integrity to fulfill it, then you have to have something that keeps you accountable. We're human beings. We fall short, right? We get
Yes.
distracted. I call it the squirrel syndrome. We're going, we're going, we're going. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like you have to have a strong motivator to keep you on course. That's why, having some accountability triggers and some accountability strategies, like writing things down, setting some rewards around what you achieved, because you got to a certain point and it was important to you to get there. Things like that will help as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Yes,
really,
you're on point, Jessica. Oh my God. Guys, you gotta make sure that you're taking notes right now because this is completely gold. Honestly, the busy word that we use in currently it doesn't do nothing good in your mindset because it literally just puts you more anxiety. They put you more into a stress mode and you won't be able to see the clarity of the things that you need to do and they be and perform in a high performance level. So the moment that you would take out the busy and I just say, hey, I'm doing this, you have more clarity of the things and the steps that you're doing. So yes, this is wonderful, Jessica. Oh my God.
Kenny, you said busy, right? So I say, instead of busy, say easy. So like, make it easy, simple, I don't like to use this word, but it's like simple, stupid, like make it really simple, right? And then you will not get overwhelmed. There are people, and I'm one of them, and I don't know about you, Candy, but do you need a certain level of stress in order to perform at your peak?
This is funny. Yeah, I love the questions. And one of the things that I really like that's what I feel like a business is like a marathon because at the end of the end of the like you almost are ready to achieve the goal. I kind of sprint myself. And that's exactly what I do. And that's exactly what I do in my business, in my life. And it's not like I'm burning fires or like waiting for the last minute to do things. It's just when it's a deadline, it gets me like fired. Feel like, oh, don't take off everything, phones, and I just focus 100%. But if I have a long time to get that, I just get, and the habit of, I still have time.
The reality is we need a certain level of stress, right? We need a certain level of positive stress. And positive stress is what pushes us out of bed. It's what, like you said, like you see the finish line at the end. And so you envision it. There you go. You've got motivation, right? The problem becomes when we tip from a positive scope to a negative point in stress. And that happens when we get busy, when we overwhelm, when we we say yes to everything because we're not clear about what we should be saying no to in order to be able to achieve that goal. And so we overwhelm ourselves and we put ourselves in negative stress, and it's very debilitating. It can make you sick. It's why people have heart attacks. It's why, people get overweight. It's because of the fact that we release a lot of cortisol, a lot of negative hormones into the body when we get into negative stress. So it really is about getting to know yourself really, really well, and then determining what's going to work best for you. I perform best when I'm in a high level of stress, but not tipping. I have to get to that, like you got to get to that place where I feel like, oh, I got to do this now.
But I want to follow up with a question, Jessica, about when do you actually start learning to say no to things that were not beneficial for you as a leader in your business? And right now that you have multiple organizations that you have the hat on.
So it really is still not an easy thing for me to do, if I'm totally transparent, because I would love to be able to do more. But I guess, it becomes almost, if you don't take the initiative to find your limits and set your boundaries, then life will take it into its own hand. You'll have a health issue. You'll burn out.
Yeah.
You will fail. You won't be able to perform in everything at the level that you are accustomed to. I'm a bit of a type A, so it's very perfectionist, high level of perfectionality, which there's no perfection, but I aim for it, excellence. And
Mhm.
so you'll find that you'll make a greater degree of mistakes across a lot of things. It comes with learning. You have to hit your head against the stone a couple of times. At least I did to finally realize this. And I'm actually doing you a disservice by saying yes. Because if I say yes, I can't fully be present because I'm too segmented across too many things. And it comes back to, where am I supposed to be? Like, am I supposed to be doing in this season of my life? And how do I make the greatest impact? Then it's not so much, I feel like I'm saying no, as much as I'm saying, yes, I would have loved to, but this isn't the time. So let me see if maybe down the road, things change and there's a possibility, right?
Mhm.
But knowing that limit and understanding that it's not so much that you are, because I used to think, oh my goodness, I'm giving something up when I say no, or I'm letting someone down when I say no. And that has to do with your belief system, right? In my case, that's what I would believe. And so I
Yeah.
had to change that. I had to realize, no, it's not that you're letting them down, because you'll let them down further if you overwhelm yourself and get sick and you can't be present.
Exactly. I feel like when we become a yes person all the time, that's basically we become like the people person pleaser because
Mhm.
we're gonna please everyone except for us. And when we say no, that's actually a yes for us for going to the beach, to relax, to go to get a massage
Yeah.
after work, to actually get productive to this incredible service that we want to do, or maybe a gala, like for example, you have many galas and you have to have the structured and how you're going to perform that. So yes, I think and it's also when you stop being that people pleaser is when things are changed and people feel like I feel like, and I believe 100% people will start respecting you.
Mhm. Well, they certainly will understand your character, the behavior, right? The behavior will let them know the shift. So if you
Mhm.
are a people pleaser, and I'm a people pleaser, I can easily own that. I am. If I could serve and please everyone, it would be wonderful. That would make me, and it's more about me than them, right? It fulfills
Yeah.
something in me. So, you have to do the work, but as you continue to evolve and learn the areas that you need to enhance in yourself,
Yeah.
I think, like you said, right? You change the meaning of what it means to say no. Like you said, for you, it means yes to myself, right?
Mhm.
For me, it means no, not right now, because I can't show up 100% for you. So I can't fulfill the agreement that I have with myself, which is that I want to do everything to excellence.
Yes, yes. And I heard this from one of my good friend, Debbie. I met her through the Central Club here in Tampa a few years ago. And she mentioned something really important for me, and I keep it in my head all the time because I used to be part of so many boards,
Yeah.
like committees, member boards, directors, executive directors. And I was like, oh my God, what I'm doing, business and home and everything else. And she actually said something to me, just be careful of what you say yes, because the moment that you don't show up 100%,
Mhm.
everything is going to go backfire to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and that's really that was the biggest lesson, when you can
Yeah.
show up fully, because then even the people pleaser is going to feel so terrible because they're not going to be able to please anyone.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, you're right. Saying no has a different meaning. It means that you're saying yes to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome. So what struggles have you had? Because you're talking about the 20s
Mhm.
and you probably have been in business for 20 plus years.
Mhm.
What has been the point that you feel, oh my God, has been the most difficult time for me, and you have to actually do something different? What was the time that?
I would tell you in my mid-30s, because after I left after I left entrepreneurialism and the businesses, and I sold them and I came to do my doctorate and to study, I
Mhm.
decided, let me step back into the C-suite, like the corporate environment. Let me step back in. And I went back into the healthcare corporate environment. And Candy, work had shifted. You know, we had the inverted pyramid. So for the longest time, it was the upright pyramid, right? The leadership structure of one leader at the very top and, you know, very dictator and authoritative and kind of like trickle down. That was my culture that I grew up in, right? I'm dating myself, but that was the business model. And when I came to, because I'm originally Canadian, that's the other thing. So when I came to the States to do my PhD and my postdoctoral work, I found myself in that pyramid. And I had such a hard time because as much as I do things to excellence, I found myself not believing in the vision of the leadership. So that incongruency of trying to do my very best, but knowing that my very best wasn't having the impact in healthcare, I burnt out really, really quickly because I could see that it's a very corrupt business, right? It's a very corrupt business model with fee schedules that are inflated and absolutely ludicrous. And I would see how people wouldn't get access to the care that they needed and the quality of care. And it was divisive and very, what do you call this? Elitist. Like if you could pay for it, you could get it, but if you can't pay for it, you get some other kind of healthcare.
Oh my goodness.
And it really made me feel out of integrity. Like, how could I be working for these corporations? And I was making a handsome salary. I was in, top C, vice president of divisions and running hospitals and contracts and this and that and the other. I've always achieved, so that hasn't been the problem. But that was probably the most difficult time because I just couldn't get myself to get there every day.
Wow.
I do not want to be in this environment. And I had to be because of my situation coming to the States. I needed to be in an employment situation because I came in from Canada. So I found myself in a catch-22 because I had never been in that kind of situation before. So that I would tell you is probably the hardest, but I have this philosophy that everything that was meant to derail you, your hardships, I see them as a way to level up.
Yeah.
I learned the most from failures and from hardships than I've ever learned from all the great successes. So that to me taught me, okay, you're not happy with the system and you're not happy with the way the company's running. So go out there and change it. Like create something different. So it led to a consulting company for healthcare that another partner and I put together. We did the inverted triangle right away. Like it was lateral leadership, collaborative model. There was no high honcho. It was a leadership group, a team of leaders, because we needed it, because I can't possibly know every aspect of healthcare administration because there's technology, there's science, there's pragmatics, there's logistics, there's every area. There's no way to have the expertise, but you surround yourself with those that do. And that lateral collaborative leadership model. And so that was challenging, right? To change the mindset of people coming in, from Fortune 500, 1,000 companies thinking, oh, well, I'm a VP. Yeah, but you're no different than the janitor. We're all working at the same level. And we systemically have to work together in order to be able to change the culture. And so that era, which lasted about 10 years, because we worked here and then we took it back to Canada and worked there through the consulting company. It was extraordinary. It was like we hit ourselves against the wall a couple of times because you're dealing with large systems that are already entrenched, healthcare, insurance, payer systems, very, very traditional. Like they did it this way for the last 100 years. They're going to keep doing it this way. And we were saying, no, there's a better way.
Oh my goodness.
Way for all stakeholders, the patient included. So it was challenging, right? It was challenging. And before the call, you said, no, 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 no. Okay, that was a season of complete no's and shutdowns and contracts and people pulling out and not paying. I mean, like just a lot of negative output from all the effort that I really thought, no, this is not, then it must not be right. Like we need to rethink this strategy and go back to the drawing board. But intuition is powerful. I just said, no, let's stick with it. I say, let's stick with it. Let's be the disruptor. And we broke through after some struggle, but we broke.
So what do you did? What was the one thing that actually shift?
We were able to take a traditional company that did outpatient rehabilitation in a very traditional medical model, and we brought them into the wellness model. And so we contracted between like hospital systems and Valley network of fitness clubs, and we created rehab inside the traditional fitness clubs. And it was accessible to everyone, and it was very accessible financially. So people who had the need for rehab had places they could go, as opposed to having to be, tiered because of their carrier.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the greatest success we had.
Oh, wow. 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 That's incredible. So, and Dr. Jessica, do you have any events that you want to invite the community here to be participate? Because they probably, we haven't talked a lot about a life foundation, but that's something that is in my heart. That's what I share the book all the time. I feel like the money goes to the foundation. It doesn't come to me.
I love it. Thank you, Candy. So Elite Foundation was a call, right? It was, hey, just leave everything behind for the last 7 years, the entrepreneurial lifestyle that you love, 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 right? Leave it and just focus on a nonprofit. And the difference between Canada and the US is Canada is a very socialist country, like a traditional socialist country. So school is free, healthcare is free, not free, but you pay through taxes, right? And so nonprofit is nonprofit. Like there isn't these high salaries, there isn't, 25% administrative costs. So when I came here and I told my partners that do the nonprofit, I said, we're going to be a traditional nonprofit, what I understand to be a nonprofit. So it is completely 100% volunteer based. It is the name of it is Elite. It's End Loss Innocence to Exploitation. It serves victims and survivors of not just trafficking, but exploitation in all its ugly forms, so sexual assault, sexual abuse, domestic violence. It really, we focused initially on women, and then we realized, women are the cornerstone and the nurturance, and without women, there is no family, there's no children, there's no community. But then we also had to serve the children. Then we also had to serve the men. And so Elite has events every year, because we are completely volunteer and fundraising based. And no one takes a dime from the foundation. 100% of all proceeds from everything that we do goes right back to goods and services. So we have actually coming up soon, May 20th, we have our Purple Healing Heels Walk for Freedom. It's an opportunity to, put on your boba and your high heels and do a symbolic walk for freedom. And we are going to do it at Fort Lauderdale downtown. It's a big city for this area, and we do it every year. And it's really to raise awareness, not only to walk in the shoes of those that have been victimized, but also to bring awareness to the absorbent costs of mental health. Because when people come out of these kinds of horrific traumas, they need long-term mental health access, and most insurance companies don't pay for it. And out-of-pocket fees, no matter who you go see, it's still a substantial amount over time. Typically, a trauma victim is in care at least a couple of years. And so if you add up those dollars, even if you get a sliding scale, you're still talking, tens and tens of thousands of dollars in therapy. So we do this walk to create a fund for non-insured services, for gap services for survivors.
So that is May 20th, right?
May 20th at the Fort Lauderdale Esplanade. Anyone on the East Coast knows that really well. It's a pretty big hub, and it's just a symbolic walk. It's not an actual race. It's literally like maybe a mile around the whole Esplanade, but we bring in vendors. This year, we're going to partner with, we're hoping, and I probably shouldn't say this yet because we're still talking, but I'm going to sneak it in. I'm having conversations with another nonprofit that's run by Victor Belford, and he is the MMA world champion. And so he has a very unfortunate story about how his family was affected by trafficking. So we're going to partner because he really, really wants to bring more awareness in the communities. And we're not in the same community, but we'll move around. We'll go to all the communities that we can so that we can get awareness spread. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful because, it's not, you don't need to be, for you guys who are watching right now, you don't need to be around. But if you want to stand by to have a little giveaway in Fort Lauderdale and support, that's very beautiful. And, I've been there. So even though I'm here in Tampa, so it's not difference. You're in Canada, come here in Fort Lauderdale too.
and it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot. It'll be a lot of
So
fun.
Jessica, I had this last question.
Sure.
And is there where a book that you want to write just for you, not for everybody else, just for you?
That's
What will
funny.
be the title and the summary of the back of the book?
So you're touching my heart, right? So the book that I am going to work on in the next little bit is called Letters to My Daughters.
Oh, wow.
That's the title, Letters to My Daughters. And it really is, I'm not the author. I believe I have a very strong faith in God, and it's God's words to his daughters, throughout every generation. I have 2 girls, so it's super important legacies to leave meaning in their lives. And I thought, wow, this would be really cool. And the back side of it would be, and I was kind of thinking about this, what would the backside be? Typically the backside has something to do with, turn your setbacks into your setups, things like that, like very colloquial things. But for this, it would really be, the heart. It has something to do with the heart. And because women are very led by their heart, right? And the Lord is in your heart, not in your mind, right? He's in your heart. So his letters to you, his words, his meaning for you, and his value of you. I think something along those lines on the backside, learning to receive the love he gives. Right?
Learning to receive the love they gave. Oh my God, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it. That I'm all about servant leader, because that's we focus a lot, 100%, to convert those incredible leaders and servant leaders in the community so they can lead from their heart. Because that's where I always said, this is my signature everywhere. The magic happens, because the moment that you're in the head, that's when you lose control, you get into the ego and you get upset with people. Sometimes we gotta just let us step back and just focus on our heart. And it's beautiful. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to read it. Do you plan any time soon that you're gonna get it out, or?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna actually take a year. I think I'm gonna take a year sabbatical. I'm gonna write it. I'm praying about it. Irony. I'm praying about it right now to see if it's feasible, because it's a priority, and it's a determination. Like priorities, priorities come with sacrifice. Like you have to give up things in order to be able to do other things. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm praying about it to see if it's possible that I could, because it's important. I think it's really important.
Awesome. Awesome. So guys, remember, Dr. Jessica is here, not just in this moment. She's actually part of this community. And I told you, I promise that you will be able to connect with like-minded people and not lying. She is a really outstanding, incredible woman, and incredible and amazing leader. So make sure that you connect with her, support her nonprofit. And also, if you're actually looking to write your next book.
Oh, yes. There's a free app. Totally free app. You just go in, download it, and start writing, guys. It's called I Write.
She helped me, and really, I can tell you exactly how amazing I feel, because I remember I had my blind page for months.
And then it was like that. Once it caught fire, I couldn't stop her.
Yes, and now I can't even stop me to everything I write in Facebook and LinkedIn. I do it. People think I pay somebody. No, I do it. Philip.
Oh, I know you're tall, so I can tell you do it. You're a fantastic writer.
Yeah, so I improve a lot. So now you guys can do it too. I've been growing so much in this journey as a leader, and it's in my business, supporting incredible CEOs and executives. And here is Dr. Jessica, who can support you all the way. So how they can get in touch with you, Jessica?
The best way is probably through the website, drjvera.com. That's the straightest way to get to me. Those forms come directly to me, or I can put my email in the link, and I can always connect with the foundation as well.
Yeah, we can put it on the comments, and also I'm gonna put it in YouTube and LinkedIn so you guys can connect with her as well. This is all about serving, and thank you for listening to us. Thank you, Jessica, for being here. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you, Candy. Are you kidding? This group is incredible. I've been watching the testimonies and just everything that's going on. I can't wait to learn.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate the support. So yes, thank you guys. I appreciate your time today. Just remember, leave from your heart, because that's where the magic happens. And if you have any comments or questions, please make sure that you ask the questions. I see Jamie has been saying impressive mindset she talk on. Great stuff, ladies. Thank you so much for your comments. And if you have any questions, remember, we are here to support you all the way. She is part of the community. Connect with her, loving her, supporting her, and anything, but I'm sure she will be manifold to share the yeses, right?
Thank you again, Candy. It was awesome.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye, guys.
Good night.